People try to tell me all the time that, oh, you can't take that vehicle there, or that vehicle's no good because it's not four-wheel drive, or hey, that four-wheel drive's a petrol, it's not going to be any good. But I think the Battle Prius has proven people wrong in a lot of circumstances. And my old Landcruiser petrol, it did pretty alright in deep water as well. G'day guys, welcome to Swagging with Ben. Sorry about any wind noise. You know what nature's like with ruining my videos in the outdoors. Anyway, today I just wanted to quickly answer some questions that I've been getting about the Battle Prius regarding water crossings and stuff. So people ask me, how can the Prius get through all of that deep water? Have you done something with the wires and stuff to protect them from water? And no, I haven't, to answer that question. I think most car manufacturers nowadays don't want you to drive through a puddle or something at speed, like water on the road coming up under your car, and break down that easily. So I think the underside of cars are pretty well protected against splashes from getting into the electrical components and causing you a breakdown. But in the case of the Prius, well, I think Toyota might have paid particular care on the Prius because, you know, being one of the first hybrids that was released on the market, I think that they wanted to put their best foot forward. They didn't want to release something that was half-baked, something that was going to have problems. So that would have been one of the most obvious things for Toyota to look at, is how do we make sure puddles and a bit of water don't cause the hybrid car to break down? And I think they've done a good job, because I've done nothing with the wiring to answer that question that I get all the time. In fact, if you look at the breakdown statistics for cars, because I know in some countries, like over in Europe actually, and in the United States at least, you can go and have a look at the breakdown statistics from the roadside assist companies, and they try and use that information. I don't know if they figure out how many cars are sold or how in depth they go with it, but they do pretty much rank the Prius most years at the top of the list or near the top of the list for most reliable car. So I think Toyota have done a pretty good job. And just to make that list even more interesting, normally the Prius beats the Landcruiser, so that's kind of funny. Now I'd like to go into detail what I have done to the Battle Prius that makes it the Battle Prius, and also makes it a little bit better for things like mud and deeper water. So first I'll talk about the Cape York wet season trip. That was unplanned, just a spur of the moment thing, really quite silly to do. I'll just be brief about it because I haven't really talked about it much since I've uploaded that video quite a while ago, and I'll probably do a separate video for the Cape York one. So if you'd like to see more in-depth discussion on that, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when that gets uploaded. So at Cape York, it was probably the deepest and definitely the most flowing water that I've been through in the Prius. That might be a bit deep. That's the cement one, isn't it? Full sand. And the only modifications that I had done to the Prius at that point were the 40mm suspension spacer lift kit and the all-terrain tyres. In addition to those two things, I also used an app on my phone and a little OBD2 plug to disable the traction control in the Prius to allow it to spin the wheels instead of just cutting power, because they're unsealed roads up there and it's very muddy, so I needed to be able to spin the wheels just like at the intro of this video. It would have been nice if Toyota included a traction control button in these, but maybe the all-wheel drive models overseas have them, I'm not sure. Anyway, we made it through that really deep water at Cape York based on sheer luck and probably the momentum that I went into the water with, because otherwise we definitely would have got washed off the road. We almost did anyway. And also the air intake under the bonnet of the Prius, so in the Australian market, this is the driver's side and the air intake is also on the driver's side, and it's facing this way towards the camera. So it's sucking air not from the forward front of the car, but from the driver's side of the car. And when I went into that water, the water was coming this way over the bonnet and maybe up into the engine bay from underneath, and the air intake was facing away from that. So I suspect that may have helped the Prius case in that extremely deep water, but I'm just guessing. Now moving on to my most recent water adventure in the Prius, which was the 14 river crossings at Cambanoora Gorge.
Nice.
I did make an additional modification to the Prius for that video. So under the bonnet here, which you can see is quite water stained and whatnot, still got that one from a previous video. This is the air box that I was talking about, and this is the air pipe here, and where it normally sucks from in this direction. So the water at Cape York came over the bonnet in this way, if that makes sense. Now down here I've got some zip ties and an old rubber glove which attaches here a piece of vacuum cleaner which is zip tied up through the engine bay to a higher position up into about the middle here, and that's facing that way now, but it's a higher position than down here. Now the diameter of that pipe is just like standard vacuum cleaner pipe. It's actually off a vacuum cleaner, and a lot of people might ask, well, doesn't that affect the engine performance? And the answer is, I don't know. I haven't put it on a dyno. It's not like I go doing street racing or quarter mile runs often in the Prius. So no, I haven't noticed any performance difference. And it's been on there for a while. So to be honest, for that video, I don't know if it made any difference, whether I actually needed it or not, because I didn't try driving through those 14 river crossings without it. So I guess it was just a little bit extra peace of mind, and because I didn't notice any difference, I've just left it on there. So I guess it's good when I go through a big puddle on the road or something like that. Some people have asked me whether I've had issues since the water crossings, and I haven't. The gorge was about 7 or 8 months ago now, and I haven't had any issues since then. And Cape York, when we were up there, that would have been about 18 months ago. So I've really had no mechanical issues with this car whatsoever, despite all of the abuse and neglect. So I'm pretty impressed with it so far. I am toying with the idea of putting a hole in the guard here and putting, you know, like the chrome bits of vacuum cleaner, like the steel pipe that goes from your handle to the ground, poking that out there and somehow attaching it up the A-pillar here. As you see, a lot of four-wheel drives, particularly young blokes, they've got those ugly looking huge chrome snorkels on their four-wheel drives, and I just thought that might be good for a laugh, even if I don't connect it, but I just attach it for a laugh maybe. So that's something I'm considering, just to poke a bit of fun at the four-wheel drivers, which is the same idea with the Adventure King's awning there. So if you think that I should do that, let me know by leaving a like on this video, and you can let me know in the comments if you like. That'd be cool too. So yeah, I haven't done a great deal of modifications to the Battle Prius. I guess it's just a weapon. Anyway guys, I'm gonna get back to scouting around for my next camping adventure. Yes, make sure you subscribe so you guys get to see that, because if you want to see my plans, they're usually pretty out there. Some people even find them entertaining. Thank you to Patreon supporters, I really appreciate your support, and I hope you guys are enjoying the behind the scenes stuff. I did show some photos of this way back when on the Patreon. I usually show people what I'm working on and things like that ahead of time. So if you're interested, go and check that out. It'll only cost you $1 a month. Alrighty guys, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!